Hello, it's John Heaton, and today I'm going to be talking about a famous day for me, June the 19th, 1987, when I had the good fortune to meet Paul McCartney. I'd like to dedicate this video to Andy Brooks, my good friend in London, and Andy and I used to follow Paul around quite a bit in this period in the mid-80s, along with a few other people. I think we were dubbed the MPL gang by Paul, and basically we knew where his office was in Soho Square in London, and I was working for KPMG at the time, and I used to, my lunch hour, I used to get the tube from Blackfriars up to Tottenham Court Road, and then the short walk to Soho Square, and we used to just to hang around, and if Paul was there, we knew, because we knew the number plate of his car. So one day the car was parked in Soho Square, so we knew Paul was there. So all we had to do was wait, and we knew we were going to meet a Beatle. And this was pretty amazing for me, still thinking about it to this day, the first time I'd ever met a Beatle. And we waited till about, I don't know, 3:30 in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's sure enough, he came out. And the MPL offices, there's a long staircase leading downstairs towards the front door, and I saw Paul walk down the stairs, and I thought, okay, this is it. This is the day I'm going to meet a Beatle, because then he walked down the stairs, walked into the street, and there were about maybe 15 of us, and he spent a few seconds, not much longer, signing autographs for us, before being whisked into his car and speeding away towards his Sussex home. So during that time, I managed to get him to sign the London Town album, and I asked him what his favourite track was. He said, not really good on favourite tracks. I said, Cafe on the Left Bank, do you like that one? He goes, yes, I like that one. And then later on in September, I got him to actually sign the photo that had been taken on June the 19th, and Linda signed it as well. And I actually, one of the things I said to him in that meeting was stop slagging off Back to the Egg, because he'd done some interview where he'd slagged off Back to the Egg. And he said, oh yeah, all right, I won't. So that was good. So this is the best of the three photographs from me and Paul from June the 19th, 1987. I'm not sure what it was about the exposure here, but it looks as if it was taken at night, whereas the other two clearly look like daytime pictures. I can assure you that all three pictures were taken within a couple of seconds of each other, around about 4 o'clock in the afternoon in June, when it was perfectly light. So it's a little bit strange there, and a lot of people have accused this photo of being a fake for that reason, because they think it's kind of photoshopped or something. But the next two photos will prove that that's not the case. So the autograph that he gave on the right hand side, again, I made the mistake of giving him a biro, and it didn't actually work. So it actually broke down in the middle of the word John. So I frantically was trying to get another pen and get him to complete the signature, and I got there just in time, because Paul used to basically sign about 10 or 15 autographs and then get into his car and head off. So I was pretty lucky. And then I got Linda to sign this actually had the photo at the time, and she looked at the photo and said, that's not a very good photo. And I said, I think it's great. And she goes, yeah, it's good of you, but it's not very good of Paul. Anyway, she signed that round about September 1987. So all of these, the photo and the autographs, all taken outside MPL in London. Okay, these are the other two photos from June the 19th, 1987. These are what I call the daylight photos, because you can see here that it's daylight. So that proves the other one wasn't a fake, I hope you'll agree. And on the right-hand side, 5 years after this, a friend of mine, Sean, wrote to Paul's office and asked whether Paul would attend my leaving party, which was being held in a pub round the corner from Paul's office. So it was just done as a joke, but we got this reply back. So the day after the party, and the reply said he couldn't come, by the way. And so the day after the party, I went round to Paul's office, and to my amazement, Paul's car was there, because we recognised the number plate. So I waited, and it turned out it was Linda, and not Paul. So she signed this for me, and she asked me, "Are you vegetarian?" I said, "No, I'm not actually." And she wrote, "Go veggie." This is probably my best autograph from Paul, in the sense that it's the clearest. And I got him to sign this in September 1987, outside Soho, his office in Soho Square, same place as the pictures were taken a few months earlier. Unfortunately, it's not my favourite Paul album, but this was his most recent album at the time, from the previous year. So I got him to sign the Press to Play album, which was his most recent album at the time, and I got him to sign next to the photo of me and him as well, so that was brilliant. Later on, in 1987, Andy and I got into the BBC, where Paul was recording Going Live, which was a Saturday morning kids show. He was a guest on there, and we managed somehow to get into the studio after the show had finished, and we went up to him, and suddenly, before I knew it, it was me and Paul with Andy and a few others, and no one else. And it was pretty amazing just to be in such close contact to one of your legends. And I think we asked him, "When's your next album coming out?" or something like that, and he goes, "Oh well, we thought we'd release the next one just in Russia." And we said, "What?" And we thought he was joking, but it turned out to be the Russian album, which he'd recorded like a few days before. So that was cool. And then as he was leaving, you get a bit speechless, you don't know what to say. So I blurted out, "Heart of the Country, great track." And he goes, "Oh, you like that one? Good." And also, I told him that the security at the BBC sucked, because Andy and I had managed to get in for free, using our using our British Telecom and KPMG passes. We managed to get into the BBC building. And I said, "Paul, the security is shit." And I don't know, he would have looked at me and he didn't seem to be too upset, but I mean, maybe he took it in, because I'm sure the security nowadays is better. But in those days, you could literally walk into the BBC with a fake pass, just flashed anything, get in. Okay, we're not all Mark Chapman, but still, it's worrying that I was worried that it was that easy, so I told Paul that, and hopefully he took it on board. And the thing about the MPL gang is we all seem to know what Paul's movements were. So if he was doing a TV show, recording a Wogan TV show, we would know, and we'd go down to Shepherd's Bush, and we were there for when he launched the interviews and publicised this album, All the Best, for example. And we were in the audience, and Terry Wogan asked him what music he was listening to, and he said, U2, and then one of us shouted out, "George Harrison," and he goes, "Oh yeah, George Harrison." So that was pretty cool, and but that was at the time when there was a bit of friction between George and Paul, because George was having a big hit in the charts with "Got My Mind Set on You," and Paul hadn't had a hit since No More Lonely Nights, and George had made a remark in the press about Paul's run out of original songs or something. So anyway, we always seemed to know where he was, like if he were recording a video, or if he was doing a dry run for a tour. The inside info was there within the MPL gang, the 80s equivalent of the Apple Scruffs, if you like. So I have fond memories of those days with Andy and Craig and Tanya, following Paul around, and as I say, in 1987, that was the year when I met him, probably like 3 or 4 times. So it was pretty cool.